All right, everybody, we are now joined on Give Me Five by a very special guest. It is Ryan Brubaker. He is a class of 2022 offensive line commit for the University of South Carolina. He is out of Denver, Pennsylvania from Cocalico High School. Ryan, how was your break? How was your holiday season? I mean, are you doing well? We're happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, I mean, even before break, December was great, signing the 15th, and that was like an early Christmas present. And so between that and then, winter break was just much needed, to say it best.
Well, I 100% agree. As a student, it's always nice to have the break, but you stay very, very busy. I mean, not just with football. We'll get into this a little bit later, but you're a tri-sport athlete. You've got track and field. I'm sure you're in full swing with swimming season right now. But Ryan, something that really sticks out to me about you, and I feel like I have to start the show talking about it, is just like how just locked in and how much love you have for South Carolina. You are all over my Twitter feed. I constantly see you on my timeline. You're hyping up South Carolina football. You're hyping up women's basketball. You're hyping up individual athletes at South Carolina. I mean, I feel like you're the spokesperson for the 2022 class because you're always just so sending out the love for South Carolina. So what made you buy in as much as you have to South Carolina?
Yeah, well, first off, I'm not sure if that's a good thing that I'm on everybody's Twitter feed. I need to be careful with that. But, it's really simple. When I started the process, I heard a lot from a lot of people, high school coaches, people who had experienced the process, like college football is a business. And I kind of had that mindset, and that was kind of in the back of my mind as I was going through the offers and all that stuff. And when South Carolina offered, they took a lot of extra time to do the right things, and they just went above and beyond other schools in the recruiting, and they were real. It's one of those things that you can just feel in your gut, like these guys, these coaches, the people in the building, they genuinely want to be here. There were some staffs where it was obvious this is a stepping stone to something better, and that just wasn't the case. So, it was certainly the place that I felt was less transactional, where we want your abilities for, what, like that's all we care about. They care about the human side of their players, and as well as the football side. But, they stood out. They were head and shoulders above SEC competitors. They were head and shoulders above other Power 5 conferences. Like, it truly special.
Well, I think it's a good thing you're on everybody's Twitter because personally, like you even hype me up when I see your tweets. I'm like, he's just like so into South Carolina. Like I said this on a show, I think a couple of weeks ago, when you aren't, in practice or playing football or if it's the off season, I could see you being like the Aaliyah Boston of the football team where you're like at every event, like hyping up every single sport. She does that for like every other sport that isn't women's basketball. So
yeah,
that might have to be your thing when you come to South Carolina.
I can own that.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be known for that than something else, right?
That's awesome. Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, a tri-sport athlete, pretty darn impressive, balancing not only being recruited to play college football, but also being a swimmer. You're a 6'6" swimmer, which is so cool. And then you also do track and field. So I have to ask, if you were going to the Olympics, would you rather go to the Summer Olympics for track and field or for swimming?
Ooh, well, one answer I give is gonna not make my swim coaches happy. The other one wouldn't make my track coach happy. But I'd probably say track. It's something that just kind of I've come on to more recently. It clicks more. I've been swimming the longest out of all my sports, and with football, it's not as compatible. So I'd probably go to throw because I'd still get smoked, but it wouldn't look as bad as swimming. Swimming would be bad. Like, yeah.
It would be better than anything I would be able to put out there. Like my one claim to fame is being a figure skater. And I'm like, that's all I could have ever done in the Olympics because anything else, absolutely not. So impressive that you do 3 sports anyways. Now, figure skating is my segue into the next question because 2022 is the Winter Olympics year. So if you were going for the Winter Olympics, what sport do you think you would have the best chance at winning a gold medal in?
Oh man.
We're hitting everybody with the hard questions on Give Me Five, by the way. Like, this is probably the most intense interview you've ever had.
Yeah, I'm gonna say bobsledding, just because I
Okay.
make a pretty good anchor. You know, there'd be a good amount of mass behind it. We'd be flying down I don't know, I guess you call it a chute or a track. Um, you know, not a lot of friction, so I wouldn't be like weighing us down, but I'd be the guy who's like pushing it last to get it going. So I'd say probably bobsledding.
I love that. That's such a unique answer. I feel like everyone's like, hockey, maybe skiing. Bobsled is the best. Bobsled and curling in the luge, like those
Yeah.
events in the Olympics, you really can't get better than that. And we're only
Yeah.
like a month away. So I seriously can't wait. It's 2022, like I said. Do you have any New Year's resolutions that you put in place at the start of the year? Is that like not your thing?
You know, it's not really my thing, because my thing is like, you know, it shouldn't just be, well, it's a new year, new me. Like every day, it should be a new and improved me. So December 31st to January 1st is, you know, more of a calendar change than anything else. But you know, I think my goals at this point are just to make myself a better person and a better player every day. You know, to prepare for June and make sure that I do everything in my power to uphold my end of the bargain, pretty much.
I love that. That's like some motivational speaking going into 2022. The whole like new year, new me thing. I agree with you. I think, you just keep it going and you try to keep the goals going throughout the year. But we mentioned your Twitter presence earlier. Which one of your future teammates do you think is the best follow on Twitter and why?
Mm,
And you can give a couple answers if you can't decide on just one.
yeah. Well, I gotta say, a lot of them don't tweet, so I should probably stop. You know, follow that pattern and stop too. But Case and Henry, he's pretty funny. So you know, Snapchat, he's pretty funny. There's a few other guys I know on defense who I get a good chuckle. You know, when we're all in a group chat, and there's some funny guys coming. So um, yeah, I'd say Kaysen. Oh gosh, Dre Martin is a good one. Braden Davis, you know,
Yes,
like all those guys.
yes.
They're just fun ones to be around.
They're all good Twitter follows. I was going to say you're probably one of the best Twitter follows in the 2022 class, active on Twitter. I'm too active on Twitter too. I'm on there too much. So maybe my New Year's resolution needs to be to stop being on social media so often. But speaking of Braden Davis, that's perfect because he was my first ever interview on Give Me Five. And I asked him a question about weird food combinations because Will Levis went viral for doing the mayo and the coffee combination.
Mm.
He also eats bananas with the peel on. So it's become a
Yep.
staple question of Give Me Five. And it's okay if you don't have an answer. Like, you could be pretty normal. But do you have any weird food combinations that you really like?
I mean, I like my variety of hot sauces, so I've added hot sauce to some weird stuff. I've tried it on peanut butter jelly. You know, that's like a starter. You know, for any time, like even in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, you know, there's PB and J and mayo. You know, I have yet to try that one. It sounds good, but yeah, pretty much just hot sauce to vegetables and stuff like that. Where it's like, does this really work? Not really, but I'll stretch it. You know.
That is so funny. So are you a mayo fan, speaking of the Duke's Mayo Bowl?
I am. I
Have you
am.
had Duke's Mayo?
I have. Yeah. It's although up north it's a lot of Hellman's, so
Mm.
we're in the minority as far as Duke's mayo goes. But you know, we can always change some minds.
I mean, as long as you like mayo, I like mayo too. I think most people at the Mayo Bowl were saying like, oh, it's disgusting, mayo with the twang. Duke's Mayo is the only way to go. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, so it's like all we have down here in the South. So once you come to South Carolina, no more Hellman's, you'll only be having Duke's Mayo. And that's so fitting because obviously South Carolina winning the Duke's Mayo Bowl, taking down North Carolina just last week. Now, Ryan, you have gone through the entire recruitment process. You're now committed to South Carolina. For any young football players that want to grow up and they want to be like you and they want to play college football, what advice do you have to share with them?
I mean, I would just say work hard. You know, it's kind of stereotypical, kind of lackluster. But I think sometimes we get wrapped up in, am I doing this or am I doing that? But a lot of times it just boils down to, am I doing more than what's required of me? And, for some guys it's, well, I'm taking a protein shake and I'm lifting, but is that protein shake, is it really benefiting you? Is that workout, are you really getting better? There's a difference between going to the gym and getting a lift, getting a workout. I think it's stuff in the margins that really just, takes it to another level. Part of my development as a football player was simply taking time during, our high school practice. We do special teams. Believe it or not, I wasn't asked to be on kickoff, look squad. So, just taking that extra period, that extra 5 minutes off to the side to work on basic fundamental stuff to make myself a better player. And, there's some factors where, at offensive line, height is going to factor into it. Sometimes depending on your weight is going to factor into it. But, I remember he might still be there, but 2 seasons ago, there was Coastal Carolina center, I think. He was 6 foot, and it's kind of an anomaly, in FBS football, but dude obviously worked his tail off to get where he was. So, it's not a closed door.
Yeah, that's awesome advice. I love that so much. And if you're a young kid who's in football listening to this, listen to Ryan, because he obviously has some experience. And Ryan, you've talked all about your experiences at South Carolina and how it feels like a family to you and how you're so excited for the future of South Carolina football. So just talk on that a little bit more and just what makes you so excited for the future of Gamecock football.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the perfect storm, right? There's just so many good things moving in the right direction. And, after being on my official visit and hearing from the guys who were in the program and have been in the program, and just the leaps and bounds that they've come as a culture, as a team, their slogan is, above all else, love each other. And just like that's a huge step after listening to their personal testimonies as to, where they were mentally, and just getting to that point where they could truly say, we love each other. And, that's a big part of it. A big part of it is the experience that Coach Beamer's brought in with his assistants. My area recruiter, Coach Lembo, he's coached as a head coach. He's coached as special teams. He's done a lot of different things as a coach and worked his way up. And, that's just one example, but there's guys like that all around Coach Beamer. And I think that's why they were more successful than anybody thought they would be, because of those two main things. The players learn to work together throughout the season, and the coaches just have, a plethora of experience.
Ryan, you said it was a perfect storm. I think you need to start saying a perfect sandstorm. That is the perfect way to segue sandstorm into your sayings. You even knew what I was going to say there. So you're catching on super fast. We'll be in Columbia in June. So just like under 6 months away now, which is absolutely crazy. But yeah. I wish you the best of luck as you're finishing out your high school career. Have fun with track and field, with swim. We will see you here in Columbia in just a few short months. But thank you so much for joining me on Give Me 5 today. I'm sure everybody in Gamecock Nation is going to really enjoy hearing from you. So thank you so much, Ryan.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And don't go too hard on Twitter, all right? So.
I'll try not to.